Hello, my name is May. Welcome back to the channel. This is my April recap. I got some nice music going. Got my little cat beanie on. I think that this is the first thing I ever crocheted. So I'm actually like very grateful that I still have it, even though it's like not the greatest, because you know, like how often do you like keep the first thing that you made? Usually like you lose those things, right? At least for me, I do. So yeah, I think it's cute. So let's talk about April. April 2025. April was definitely a mess for me. I think maybe one of the out of like the first few months of the year, probably the hardest for me. I learned a lot, specifically about like my relationships. And I think I always say this in like every video, like I'm learning a lot. I learn about my relationships and I'm like so much more profound now. Like, no. I mean, maybe a little bit. Maybe I am a little more profound, but I think this month really like kind of like shook me, because I think it was kind of me realizing that the relationships that I've built, or the relationships that I've been used to or like depended on for so long, for like 20 years of my life, I can no longer depend on them. Yeah, and I think that's just like a very like kind of like a bittersweet thought to like realize, because like I am 20, I am starting to like become my own adult. I got a job, and I'm working and I'm earning, and I'm, you know, doing a training for another job, and I'm also dancing and, you know, doing the things that make me feel good, and like, you know, putting work towards my future. But that comes with like a certain like sacrifice, even if it is like just the knowledge of like, hey, maybe the things that served me in the past, they don't necessarily serve me anymore, and the things that I've put up with for so long in my life, like I don't really have to put up with that anymore. Like I can choose to walk away, because I'm discovering that I have the means to, which is something that you don't have, like the means and the resources when you're like a teenager or a kid. And it's empowering. I would say it's pretty empowering, but it's also, it's very, since this is such like a transitionary period, it hurts kind of. Like you almost don't know what to do and like how to define yourself anymore. And that's like amongst like other like, you know, issues, that's kind of been like what I've been dealing with this past month. And to be honest, like the people in my life haven't made it easier. I mean, my friends have, but the people in my life that like I consider really close to me, I guess they haven't. And I guess I'm still trying to figure out how I feel. It's a lot. It's not as much as it used to be when I was growing up, but they've said some hurtful things, done some hurtful things in this past month that kind of made me realize that I'm not the person I want to be when I'm with them. And I always like revert back to that person when I'm with them. So maybe I don't have to be with them anymore. Which is crazy to think, because if you like, when you're 15, like all you ever really think about is like, oh, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna like do all these things, and I'm gonna, because I hate it, like I hate this, I hate that, I hate everything, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be free. But like you don't really have the means to do that until you're like older, which is why, at least for me, I think young, like teenage age group and like, you know, like the tween age group is so hard. It's so hard to go through that. I will always, like, anytime I talk to like a tween or like someone who's younger than me who's like in that age group, I'll always like try to come at it with that, like, such an empathetic place, because like it's so hard being a teenager in America in 2025. It's so difficult. Everything is difficult when you're a young adult and a teen. Everything is difficult. And yeah, I mean, like, that's the reason why I'm like making these videos and like trying to do like counseling in the future and go into the field that I am going into, because if I'm not helping somebody who was in the same place that I was a couple years ago, then like what am I doing? Like, what does this mean? What does life mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a huge part of me, and my journey has been a huge part of me. Recently in this month, some people in my life kind of invalidated my journey, kind of all of it in just one sentence. I won't really get into the details, but to have something like so close to your heart being validated by somebody you love is like, it's a very difficult thing to deal with, and I would never wish that upon anybody. It kind of rocks your support system, or what your idea was of your support system. So yeah, and if there's anything I've learned from this, is that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to like feel some sort of way about somebody who hurt you. And I've recently been like letting myself feel these things, because I think that's important. Instead of like pushing them down and like letting them erupt at some point later on. Yeah. Overall, pretty rough month, honestly. This recap was kind of like sad and like weird, so I apologize for that. But if I'm not being sad and weird, what am I being? Who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember someone told me that like my Instagram stories were sad and cryptic, and I was like, that's not my intention, but maybe that's just who I am. Yeah, anyway, that's it for this video, April recap. I hope May is kinder to me and I will be kinder to myself. Okay, bye.